We should be good up in here. Y'all know what to do. It's that time. We are back in the building on this Friday. Happy Friday to everybody that's in here. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Looking all crispy and clean on the screen. And we are back at it. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show in the afternoon. I know it's super late, but we're still here. We don't miss. Y'all know. Shout out to the gang. I'm your host, ClassE, at patreon.com/ClassE Beats. By the way, the link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. We're going to get into it today. Now that the Nicholas Casotis trial has ended, we got a lot of new trials coming up we're going to talk about. Also today, we've got a ton of topics we're going to get to. We're going to talk about Michael Morrissey and his leaked emails. We're going to talk about Joy Taylor, Skip, Shannon. We got a lot for you today, so make sure y'all get ready to get into it. Shout out to the gang that's in the building. Before we get started, I've got to say what's up to the people, though. Shout out to everybody that's in here. My awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. There it is. Shout out to Amy. Man, I have to say something about Amy real quick. She really does it all. So thankful for Amy. Everything y'all see here, everything that happens on the show, she has such a great hand in and behind the scenes as well. So thank you, Amy, for everything you've done today. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into it here. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. We got Amy in the building. Les Cleaver's in here. We got Just Saying with Alicia in the building. Taco Tuesday. Mr. Brown's back at it. Shout out to Jay Buckmaster in here. Jay Money, the big dog, is in the building. Good to see y'all. We got Mary's in here. In Blues back in the building. Oh my gosh, we've got everybody up in here. Slim Life New Jersey's in here. Who else we got? We got a ton of the members in here as well. Shout out to the gang. If you haven't yet, I do not ask for much on the show, but the one thing that I do ask is that you all like the video. All right, so if you haven't yet, make sure you like the video. Likes are free. They help the channel continue to grow. They let the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show, that shares the video, this live stream, and all that we do on this channel with more people. So if you could take a second, like the video. Thank you to all 700 of you that have liked the video already. Oh my goodness. It's free, guys. Go ahead and like the video. If you're feeling extra generous, you can share the video out as well. You can share it on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, to your group chat. So if you could, hit that share button and you can share it to the people. Let them know where you're going to be this, well, not morning, afternoon now. Also, I will be reading super chats as we go throughout the show. So thank you again to everyone who goes the extra mile and sends in super chats. Y'all do not have to do it, but so many of you continuously show up and show major support and keep the lights on here at the ClassE Morning Show. We've got my guy, Les Cleaver, in the building with the 10 bomb. He says, thank God it's Friday. Half a day at work today. Praise God. Amen. Shout out to Dr. EJ for yesterday dropping the biggest super chat this channel has ever seen. And a very generous man he is. I agree. God bless him as well and has blessed this channel and chat family. Thank you, ClassE and Amy. Amen. Thank you, Les Cleaver. Always with the great word, always showing major love and support. I appreciate you, and you deserve your half day, man. You're one of the hardest working people I know, so it's good to see you in here enjoying your half day there. All right, shout out to Mr. Brown, just showing some love with the 5 bomb. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Also, my guy Jay Money with the 5 bomb as well says, happy Friday, everyone. Hoping y'all have a blessed and safe weekend. Let's get our day started off right with some ClassE B's Morning Show. You know what time it is. Thank you for being here, Jay Money. And we're going to see Jay Money tonight. He's going to be sponsoring a bunch of music tonight as well. We've got Mary in the building as well. Shout out to Mary. With the 5 bomb says, this is the kindest group I have ever met. Had a rough night last night and I played some of y'all's music, reminded myself I can choose what energy I let in. Amen. Shout out to Mary. Hey, we're not going anywhere, Mary. So I'm glad we can uplift you. I'm glad we can be here to help you get through some tough times, because you know life be lifing. I'm a testimony of that, and I know so many of y'all are too. So we're going to continue to show up, continue to spread the good news, and I thank you for that word. It's good to hear that you're encouraged by it, and it's actually useful to you, even though we may not be live streaming. So I'm glad to hear that as well. Shout out to Amy with the cake. Oh my goodness, we just got started and Amy's ready for lunchtime already. Shout out to Amy bringing the cake. I appreciate it, Amy. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super sticker, and thank you for everything that you do. You know what I'm talking about. We've got Kate is in here as well. So many of y'all are in the building. Good to see everyone in here. We're going to go ahead and get started with the show, because y'all know Normally we start early in the morning, but we're starting a little bit later today. So we got a lot to get to in probably just an hour. So let me go ahead and get Michael Morrissey up in here. We're going to talk about him first. Again, if you haven't yet, make sure you like the video on your way in. Here we go. So we're going to talk about Michael Morrissey. Oh boy, this guy is a piece of work. Y'all know he is disgraced already out there in Massachusetts, and a lot of the work he did on the Karen Reed trial is coming into question. I believe I have to sneeze, but maybe not yet. I hope it doesn't happen in the middle of this segment. We're going to try and make it through. So, and some more recent news. We've got some updates when it comes to Michael Morrissey, the disgraced district attorney there in Norfolk County. All right, so we're going to talk about what's going on with him. Some emails seemingly have come out. He was asking for more money when it comes to this Karen Reed trial that he was indicting, I guess you could say. And he was involved heavily in Karen Reed before he then became disgraced. Now, we're going to look into the email. We're going to see an email that he actually sent requesting more money for the Karen Reed trial. And then we're going to get into what could happen to Michael Morrissey after this, because we know there's still an ongoing investigation. Check this out.
We've learned a bit more about what's inside more than 4,000 pages of emails sent by and to Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morrissey's personal email account.
The messages were sent and received during the investigation into and the trial of Karen Reed. NBC 10 initially spotted the claim that Morrissey used a private email account to conduct business related to Reed on social media.
So we filed a request to review them. NBC 10 investigator Ryan Kath has spent the past few hours doing exactly that. Sue O'Connell, JC Monahan, and I have been helping in that process. Put it all together for us, Ryan. What have we learned?
Yeah, late this afternoon, we received more than 4,000 pages of DA Morrissey's email, and we've been working to review those as quickly as possible. But here are some initial takeaways. The DA frequently used his private account to share news articles with colleagues, and that includes developments about the Karen Reed case, including when she first hired high-profile defense attorney Alan Jackson. Morrissey regularly used that email address to flag events around the community and to monitor obituaries so his staff members would send sympathy cards to families. The DA also shared posts written by Aidan Carney, the blogger known as Turtle Boy. Remember, he's one of Reed's most vocal supporters and one of Morrissey's most vocal critics, and he championed her innocence throughout both trials. Morrissey's office is prosecuting Carney for witness intimidation tied to that case, and that's the reason the personal email address came to light in the first place. Last year, we learned Morrissey complained to a judge that a courthouse employee had leaked info to Carney, a message written from his iCloud account. That's what prompted our request for all emails nearly 10 months ago. So we'll continue reviewing these documents, but some of them will be tough to decipher because they look like this, completely blacked out. We've reached out to the DA's office about the use of that private account to conduct official business. We're waiting on a response, but the DA has been notably silent since Reed's acquittal earlier this summer. Despite multiple calls, emails, and stops to his office, he has yet to comment publicly. Ryan Kath, NBC 10 Investigators.
Yeah, and not only that, but you've got the commissioner denying that he even knew who some of the people were involved in this entire trial. Officer Dever, who is that? I don't know. I talked to a lot of officers. So we're going to get into one of the emails that was released by him shortly, but let's check out what actually we're seeing in these emails, why he used them, what communication was going back and forth, and what could possibly happen to Michael Morrissey.
More than $1 million. That is how much the Norfolk County District Attorney requested from state lawmakers for his office's second murder prosecution against Karen Reed. It's one of the revelations to come from thousands of pages of emails that we have received for DA Michael Morrissey. Our NBC 10 investigator Ryan Kath is on it. He's joining us here in the studio with details on what else those messages reveal. Ryan.
Priscilla, we received more than 4,000 pages of emails sent from DA Morrissey's private iCloud account. After a review, this one jumped out, a request to leaders on Beacon Hill for upwards of $1 million taxpayer dollars. Calling the Reed trial a perfect storm that blew up into a national sensation, Morrissey wrote about significant resources draining his office budget.
Not to mention, y'all saw, and we talked about this in the past video, I'll leave a link in the description for you, how much prosecutors got paid during this. I mean, it was absolutely insane. Not to mention, we talked about Aperture. We talked about how much they got paid. I mean, it seems like it was nearly half their budget went to prosecutors and Aperture. It's insane.
All while taking on what he described as an unusually well-financed defense team. As we told you last month, Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan earned more than $500,000 prosecuting the case, which ended in Reed's acquittal on the most serious criminal charges. We learned late today that lawmakers approved a budget line item for the statewide District Attorneys Association, and Morrissey's office received $400,000 of that earmark. On a related note, the emails show Morrissey paid close attention to online activity by Aidan Kearney, the blogger known as Turtle Boy, who was one of Reed's most vocal supporters. On multiple occasions, the DA contacted the Attorney General's office to see if they would pursue witness intimidation prosecuting for things like holding rallies outside witnesses' homes. When he apparently did not get the response he'd hoped for, Morrissey expressed frustration to colleagues about Attorney General Campbell, writing, quote, "She has other priorities." We asked our chief legal analyst about the use of private email account to conduct official government business.
Yeah,
it isn't per se illegal. What it raises are issues of transparency and security and availability. I think it helps to erode the trust that a lot of folks have in law enforcement and in our government officials at this point, and that's unfortunate.
Now, we have made multiple requests starting last Friday to get a response from Morrissey about his use of that iCloud account. We're still waiting for a response. And it wasn't always easy to get full context of the communication. Many of the pages we received looked a lot like this, completely blacked out. Ryan Kath, NBC 10 investigator.
NBC 10 commentator and Karen Reed courtroom insider Sue O'Connell is here. Sue, just to quickly underscore what Ryan was just reporting, $1 million goes to the Association of District Attorneys. $400,000 of that goes to Norfolk County to actually go up against Karen Reed's defense team.
Correct.
So you've reviewed the emails as well. Beyond that, really bombshell, something we didn't really know about the implicated costs of this trial. What else are you taking away?
Well, Glenn, I think it's clear to me that Morrissey was concerned about that federal involvement in the case. During 2023, he was actively trying to manage relationships with FBI leadership while simultaneously dealing with Aidan Kearney, a.k.a. Turtle Boy's public pressure campaign. And Kearney, of course, is facing several witness intimidation charges. And I think Morrissey was in damage control mode throughout late 2023.
So as you were going through these emails, I got to thumb through some of them as well. We didn't only see material related to the Karen Reed case, but a lot of other stuff too. Anything there that's important we should pass along to viewers?
Well, that's debatable, Glenn. Morrissey actively shares obituaries with staff members, events that are coming up, job listings, potential office locations, and news about his office's cases. He has very strong opinions about Long Island. That's that Boston Harbor island that's was accessible only through Quincy. Morrissey believes Boston has been a poor neighbor to Quincy. And Morrissey also shared a Lexington town manager job posting with the Quincy mayor, noting it pays $260,000 for managing a population of 34,000. For context, currently earns $159,000, but is asking for $285,000. And Morrissey has also reached out to journalists, including Yvonne Abraham at the Globe, Peter Lucas at the Herald, and he attempted to contact the New York Times' Carolyn Ryan through the New York Times General Help email. So he had a variety of interests, and he displayed them all in these emails.
All right, and let's go ahead and get into one of the emails that we have here. Who is this from? Michael Morrissey. What do we have? The Office of the District Attorney. What does he say? He says, "Dear Speaker Mariano, I'm writing to ask for your help and assistance, particularly financial assistance." What? As if he needed any more. As I navigate some of the more challenging cases of my career. If you talk about the perfect storm, I have that going on in Norfolk County. A simple domestic motor vehicle homicide case in Canton.
Stop the cap.
Really? After a mistrial? We're calling it just a simple domestic motor vehicle. Wow. All right, check this out. A simple domestic motor vehicle homicide case in Canton has blown up to a national sensation. The time, the effort, and the resources the office has had to commit to prosecute the first case and now for a second retrial are substantial. And it's Karen Reed's fault. It is an unusually well-financed defense. It has required the appointment of special prosecutors, Hank Brennan, and experts, Aperture, and will tax our budget resources beyond what was anticipated this fiscal year. It is hard to give an exact amount at this time, but I believe we will need upwards of $1 million as a one-time expense. I appreciate all the support that you provided to the district attorney's office in the past. This situation presents a very unique problem. I know the state has helped out other counties in the past who have faced similar burdens and challenges. I would be grateful if you would assist me as well. I am happy to answer any questions or review the expenses with you. Thank you for your assistance and consideration. Michael W. Morrissey. And this was October of last year. October of last year, guys. So he was up there begging. He was trying to, I don't know what he thought he was going to do. They already got Aperture. They already got Hank. What more do you need? And that's almost $1 million just on those two. What were you doing? And then how much did we find out that the defense paid their experts? I think it was less than $100,000. Absolutely disgusting, man. Something's going to happen. And moving forward with these emails coming out, I'm sure over 3,000 pages, they're going to find something else where Michael Morrissey maybe slipped up. And this just goes to show you that not only did he just want to get this thing over with, but he had clear intentions of trying to do everything he could to make this go his way. Unfortunate thing about this judicial system. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. Oh man, we got the Honorable Attorney Kel Bell is in here. Shout out to Kel Bell. Happy Friday, everyone. Can you believe the amount of money spent on this case? Just gross. And he wanted $1 million more. Also, big shout out to Just Saying with Alicia in here, gifted 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Alicia, make sure y'all say thank you. All right. Please show some love to Alicia. Thank you for gifting those memberships. And to those of you who got memberships, make sure you check out the members only content. Also, you get instant access to any video that we drop here on the channel. So you guys want to go and check that out as well. Okay. Shout out to Kel Bell. Glad to see you in the building. And thank you to Amy for reminding you all to like the video. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next topic. We're going to be moving today, y'all, because we've got a lot to get to, especially when it comes to Shannon Sharpe. We're going to hear about Shannon Sharpe a couple times today, but this next segment is actually a little bit of a follow-up because, as many of you know, especially if you've been watching the content, we've been talking about Shannon Sharpe and some of these lawsuits he's facing. He just finalized this lawsuit with Gabby. We don't know how much he paid her, but it's alleged that he paid her over $20 million, which is crazy. So now we're hearing this case Shannon Sharpe had that he was going up against Mrs. Tillman. We're going to get into the issue here shortly. May have been settled and has definitely been dismissed. Now, there's details surrounding this we're going to get into shortly. I want you guys to remember and go back to what happened. So Mrs. Tillman, she's at an Usher concert. She has a fun, in her words, fun interaction, innocent interaction with Usher at his concert. If y'all have seen the videos of Usher concerts, you know what Usher has going on. She had a great time with that. She goes on this press tour because the video went viral. She's talking to people. Shannon and Chad Ochocinco on their show were talking about this situation, and they allege, and according to Miss Tillman, defamed her by saying she was married and that her husband was going to divorce her because of her interaction with Usher. Well, turns out Mrs. Tillman was not married at the time. She's not married now. And she files a $20 million lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Now, she filed this pro se, which means she's representing herself. She couldn't get anyone to jump on board. And allegedly, this is now being dismissed and she may not have gotten any money. So we're going to look at it here and find out what actually happened. All right, check this out. I'm going to play the video first for y'all.
News tonight, a federal judge dismissing the lawsuit. Shannon Sharpe. The civil suit claims.
I don't know. This video is skipping. Hold on a second. Let me
judge dismissing the lawsuit from Shannon Sharpe Johnson. But on Sharpe and
Okay, forget the video. We'll just read the article. Anyway, federal court dismisses $20 million defamation case against Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. So what happened here? They say a $20 million defamation lawsuit against podcasters. Wow. I never thought Shannon Sharpe would be called a podcaster, but I guess here we are. Against Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson, filed by a Chicago woman, has been dismissed, according to officials. Here's what we know. Jay Tillman, because I'm going to mess up her first name, filed the lawsuit on April 24th against Shannon Sharpe, his media company, and Johnson, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco. All right. And their producer. The case was alleged libel and defamation, was moved to federal court in Chicago. The case has been dismissed, though further details haven't been released. Now, Shannon is alleging, and we're going to get into it in a second, that he didn't pay her a dime. Ms. Tillman saying, hey, we're happy with the outcome. So again, you guys will have to decide what you think happened, because we may never know. Ms. Tillman says, I'm pleased with the outcome. We are able to put this matter behind us without a long drawn out court matter. We look forward to future discussions about the positive contributions Mr. Sharpe and I make to the community. I wish him, his family, and his business endeavors continued success. If I had to guess, if she didn't get paid any money, if she has an event, because we talked about what Ms. Tillman's involved in, Shannon Sharpe's probably going to make some appearances. Shannon Sharpe's going to be up in there giving a speech, talking, giving some interviews, whatever. So he doesn't have to pay up for this. So that'll be nice for her to have in her back pocket. We'll have to see what happens moving forward. The backstory. The lawsuit stemmed from an April 12th episode of Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson's podcast Nightcap, in which the former athlete alleges and claimed that Miss Tillman was married and going through a divorce following her viral moment at the Usher concert in London. The implication, according to the complaint, was that Tillman contributed to the breakup. Oh my goodness. Tillman maintained she was never married nor in a relationship at the time. She said she attempted to contact the podcast host and their company to correct the record, but received no acknowledgement or retraction. Tillman also added that the incident negatively impacted her personal and professional life, including her role as the director of the Harold Washington Cultural Center and her work in homeschooling advocacy. As we know, her daughter at 17, I think, graduated college already, and she was doing some great things. Homeschooled her daughter. Very impressive work there. All right. So now I want to get into the response from Shannon Sharpe, because Shannon Sharpe had something to say about this when people were saying, hey, Shannon, you must have paid up and paid this woman some money. So let's see what happened. As we know, again, Ms. Tillman filed this lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe, and they say Shay Media in federal court for having made disseminated false and defamatory statements, suggested that she was married and that her husband was filing for divorce. All right. And then it says, in court documents obtained by Complex on August 1st, Tillman called Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco's comments about her marital status a false narrative, and that was shared widely across platforms, reaching millions of followers. She also alleged she made numerous efforts to contact the defendants to request the removal of the false narrative, but these requests were disregarded. The dismissal of the case comes at a time when Sharpe probably needs all the breaks he can get. Well, we don't know if he got a break. We just know that it was dismissed. At the end of July, news broke at that ESPN cut ties with the commentator just 2 weeks after he settled a lawsuit with Gabby. That means the rumored $100 million contract that he seemed to be preparing to get is officially off the table. Lost $100 million, which is crazy. In April, Sharpe was hopeful that he'd be able to return to the network. I called it here and I told y'all he's not going back. There's no way. When he announced he'd be stepping away from his duties because of the allegations against him. Shannon Sharpe said, I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false allegations and disruptive allegations set against me, said Sharpe in his statement at the time. I plan to return to ESPN on the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I received from my family and friends. On an episode of Nightcap podcast, after the settlement, Sharpe made a joke about how his pockets are light. Dang, Shay. He said that lawsuit hurt him, but hey, at least he can joke about it. He's doing some great things on his podcast. I think he's going to recover. Also, Shannon Sharpe did come out and make a statement when it comes to this specific lawsuit that Ms. Tillman filed. He said, no money was paid. We came to an agreement, and that's it. Y'all have to let me know if you believe him. Also, just before this lawsuit was dismissed, Ms. Tillman was on a podcast talking about the whole situation. Y'all check this out.
Want to run from it.
Let me tell you something. KFC got the best chicken skin. They should just sell the skin.
They really do. Okay, it's the Morning Hustle Show. L'Oreal, Kyle Sicilian's not here today. That's Elton Walker, okay? And we're joined by a very special guest. She is a friend of the show. Yeah. Jamalita Tillman, okay? AKA, we done deemed her Auntie Cherry now. They trying to mess up the damn nickname because we was running with the nickname. We really like the whole situation that happened between you and Usher back in April. But now we have a whole situation going on between Shannon Sharpe, Chad Ochocinco, and yourself, and kind of a defamation situation.
Absolutely.
Right now, we've been hearing for quite some time. I thought we debunked the rumor that you were married and your husband left you behind the actions that happened at the Usher concert. Once again, not true.
Not true. Not married. No divorce. Was not married at the time of the fan participation. When we came here, we had a great moment just to be able to share it in the light.
We joked about it.
Let people know, hey, no, this is not that. That's just entertainment. It was a moment. That was it. The almost the very same day I leave your show, the couple days later, they run in with the story after I'm on this amazing, award-winning, nationally recognized morning show.
Come on, somebody.
It's the fact. It shows how out of touch and how out of tune, or how much disregard that they have for being able to have journalistic integrity of researching the facts.
I know that's right. So this is a $20 million lawsuit. If you win, I want $1 at least. Right? Okay. But here's the thing. We could joke about it, but you gave them an opportunity to even be able to retract it, just to apologize. You sent out emails, letters, you've spoken with people, the producers over there, everything, and still they chose not to take it down.
Absolutely. So when it all began, this is back in April. Many people are just hearing about it now, and that shows I'm not into trying to get a media hit about this. It got picked up. I'm not even sure how. I'm not really talking about the nuts and bolts of the case, but this case is about Shay Shay Media. It's about Pink Deer, the production company that was not fact checking it, or if they did not care enough. I sent emails, I sent letters. Clearly they opened it, they responded because they made it private. They did not take it down, and it didn't take it down immediately. And even as of July 31st, things were still on ways to find it on their podcast, on Apple and their other mediums in which they do it. And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And right now, as it stands, there's no oversight, there's no regulation, and there's nobody calling anyone on the carpet when they're earning tens of millions of dollars for clicks, likes, and follows, and through advertisers. They don't have the overhead that you guys have here. They can have two men, a microphone, and a producer that's supposed to fact check, and they're not doing right by that. And as a private citizen, my rights were encroached upon. This is wrong, and something needs to happen about this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to see you in court since they did not want to do the right thing.
Dang, and she did the right thing. Listen, she made a very good point here. She's a private citizen. Yes, you're at a concert. Yes, you're participating in this event. That's fine. But that does not give someone the right to start to spread rumors about you. Say, oh, look, there's this woman. She's married. Things are going on. Oh, there's this woman. Her husband filed for divorce. She's married. And then it turns out not to be true. As a private citizen, if you're in a public place, you can probably be filmed. If you're in a public place, people can watch this type of content about you, but they cannot spread defamatory statements like that, especially with the woman as professional as he is. Take that for what you will. That is having to deal with this now in her professional life. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Did she get paid? What's the agreement? Or did this just get thrown out because the judge said, nah, this is BS? I want to hear from y'all. Y'all think she got $20 million? That would be crazy. I don't think she got money. Shannon Sharpe, he didn't come out and say Gabby didn't get any money. He joked and said his pockets were light, right? But with Miss Tillman, he made it very clear that I didn't pay her any money. So do y'all think she got some money, no money? Is Shannon Sharpe capping? Is he just going to be a guest appearance anytime she wants? Is she going to call him up and be like, hey, Shay, we got an event. I'd love you to come present this for me. I don't think she got paid either. I think he probably agrees for the next, I don't know, decade or so. If she has a speaking event, he'll come and speak at the event or something. Who knows? Y'all said, I don't think she got paid. Nope. I think she got something else. Oh, yo, hey, chill. She didn't get a drip. Yeah, I'd say his pockets are light, but it's okay. He will bounce back. I think so too. Shannon, he's got a great product. He has a great podcast. I think he'll be fine. Why are grown men speaking about a woman's marriage anyways? What? Are views on the podcast that low? Yeah, it's just a part of the show. It's just what they do, which I just realized that volume is probably really loud. So let me turn this back down. Y'all let me know if the volume is a little bit better now. Shout out to CPE in the building with the 5 bomb. Just showing some love. Thank you, CPE. I appreciate you, man. Always showing up, showing love, showing support. And it's always good to see you in the chat too, man. What does he say? He says she got that flavor right there in her purse anytime she wants. Oh, favor. Excuse me. Why did I say flavor? She's got that favor right there in her purse anytime she wants for a hot minute. I think so too. That would be a smart way to do it. She probably didn't get 20 million. I don't think she got anywhere near 20 million. No. I mean, there's a reason that somebody didn't pick this up. Y'all know Tony Busby would see this in a heartbeat, be like, oh man, what? 20 million? Let's have a conversation, Miss Tillman. So I think there was a reason she probably filed this pro se, and it's not because of lack of resources, because clearly she's well off. So I won't even say clearly she's well off, but clearly she could have hired somebody if she wanted to. 3 or 5. I don't think more than that at all. Y'all think so some of you think she actually got paid. She received some money and it was paid from his insurance. There it is. That's a great point. That is a great point. Depending on how Shannon Sharpe structured Shay Media, Shannon Sharpe can say, I didn't write her a check for anything. That might be true. As Ebony said in the chat, maybe, just maybe, his insurance protects him against that, and they were able to write him a check. But that premium is probably going up if that's the case. Very interesting. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Why didn't she go after the original outlet that made the statement about her? It may be because of reach. I mean, obviously it's because of resources, and they could have been listed in the actual lawsuit. But if no one else was saying, oh yeah, this woman got married, or this woman's married and now she's getting divorced, it seems like she's implying that Shannon Sharpe was the originator of this narrative, and then it spread to other people. So that's from what I understand in the lawsuit, and we've reviewed it here a couple of times. That's what I'm seeing there. She wasn't too happy for it to just be a guest appearance and stuff. Exactly. 2 tears in the bucket has a whole new meaning now. Man, I would not have ever thought of that his company insurance would cover him in respect to that. Yep. Then she did get paid, but not by his or his insurance. Good call. I think no payment was made, Amy says. Amy, you think she could have gotten paid from the insurance company? Amy says on August 7th, 2025, a federal court in Chicago dismissed the case and no monetary award was granted to Miss Tillman. Verdict, no payment required. I think she did it for clout. Really? What? You think she did it for clout? I don't know. I might disagree with that a little bit because she already had the clout. She was already on the video. It already went viral. She was having fun with it. She was on a press tour. She got the clout. But then Shannon Sharpe came out and said, hey, she was married and she's getting divorced. And she said, oh, no, we're not doing that. I'm having fun with this, Shannon. Don't ruin my fun by turning it into a negative. I think she's making money off the publicity. I agree. Yep, it's bringing eyes to a lot of the stuff she's doing, but to file a lawsuit, I don't know. Maybe. She said yes, this got her more clout. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that, but I think she was really trying to get paid. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I would buy the clout thing or not. You might be right, usually are, but if you find out, let me know. Yeah, I don't doubt Amy. So if Amy thinks there's something there, then I would take that to the bank. So let's go ahead and get into some of the cases we're going to be covering next week. I don't have a picture of Donna Adelson, so we're going to put, who should we put up there? Judge Whitaker. I always show love to Judge Whitaker when we get to this point. Amy says she had money from what I heard. She had money. Yep, I agree. It seemed like she did. If she didn't get any money, it was because even though what Shannon said was a lie, she could not demonstrate the harm that was inflicted on her because of the statements that he made. But she said she was happy with the outcome. Amy said, from what I heard, she had money. It seemed like she did have money and she was doing pretty well. Allegedly. I have to say that or she's going to come after me. Don't come after me, Miss Tillman. I thought you were going to win this thing, honestly. The best judge of all time. Yeah, shout out to Judge Whitaker. Let's go ahead and get into this next topic because this is going to be a big one. So we are going to get into the Donna Adelson trial coming up this next week. But as you guys know, when it comes to these trials, I like to go into the trial not knowing too much more than someone who would be on the jury would know. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a rewind and we're going to go back in time and find out what actually happened with this Donna Adelson trial. What is she being indicted for? What evidence are we going to see in this trial? And what happened leading up to this? All right, so check this out from WCTV. They're going to give us a little bit of insight on what happened with Donna Adelson.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Montanaro.
And I'm Jacob Murphy. New tonight, Donna Adelson's lawyer says she will take the stand and testify in her own defense. That news revealed today at what could be her final hearing before trial.
Oh, wow.
Our Capital City correspondent Matt Hoffman joining us live from the courthouse. Matt, you were there this morning. What's the latest?
You know, Julian, just 11 days, more than 300 prospective jurors will be brought here to the Leon County Courthouse. The goal, 12 jurors, 3 alternates, and a multi-week trial.
They're estimating about 3 weeks.
Donna Adelson's defense team making a final effort to permit testimony about convicted co-conspirator Luis Rivera's involvement in the Latin Kings. Her defense says that particular gang, the Latin Kings, explains her fear and her actions after an undercover operation by a federal agent.
Crazy.
Her state of mind, her level of fear, is that it's not just that she learned he was a Latin King, but that he was the leader of one of the branches of the Latin Kings in South Florida. That heightened her fear. And of course, she will testify to that.
The judge ruled the defense can question the special agent on if he was portraying a specific gang or what the judge called a garden variety gang member. Prosecutors, though, said the two sides are starting to tread over the same ground on multiple motions.
Of course, there was no reason that elicited a deposition and that it could never be admissible at a trial. So we're just wasting paper and time, these motions. No objection.
The judge ruled the defense can ask how Rivera was recruited into the operation, but they cannot cross the line and ask him about the Latin Kings specifically.
Seating set up in the gallery, I believe, the first 2 rows behind.
Now, guys, the judge penciled in about 6 days for the prosecution's case, another 4 to 6 days for the defense. So we're looking at a trial that will start August 19th and stretch well into September. For now, in Tallahassee, I'm Matt Hoffman, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Okay, so shout out to Matt for that. Now we're going to go back to Court TV and say, why are we here in the first place? Is Donna going to testify? Who knows? Y'all have to let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let's go ahead and get the full story of what happened during this case with the murder for hire. Granny, why? Here we go.
Law professor and devoted father of two, Dan Markell, was involved in a bitter custody battle with his ex-wife, Wendy Adelson. Wendy wanted to move with their kids from Tallahassee to South Florida to be closer to her mother, Donna, her father, Harvey, and her brother, Charlie. And after Dan Markell was gunned down in his driveway in 2014, that is exactly what she ended up doing. But then the investigation led to a murder-for-hire plot. 2 hitmen convicted. A woman who brokered the deal convicted. Wendy's brother Charlie convicted, and now Wendy's mother Donna is getting ready to face a jury and was back in court today. We have all the latest.
Shout out to Vinny.
This is it, folks. The final countdown to the case against Donna Adelson, the matriarch of the Adelson family, a case that goes back to 2014. Think about the family of Dan Markell waiting so many years for justice, which is just dripping and dripping and dripping with each trial and each conviction. We're now getting ready for trial number 4 connected to the murder of Dan Markell, and it's Donna Adelson who will face this jury. Now, let's talk about the case. First, the setting, Tallahassee. It's a nice little city, Tallahassee, right? It's the capital of Florida. It's sort of remote. They don't have the biggest airport in the world, but you can get in and out of Tallahassee pretty well. It's actually a college town. A lot of several universities in the area. The biggest, of course, Florida State University. So, you know, during the fall on Saturdays, it's a big-time college football. So it's that kind of a place. And some people absolutely love it, but it's not for everyone. And it wasn't for Wendy Adelson after her divorce from Dan Markell, who was working at Florida State University at the law school. She wanted to move back down to South Florida. But Dan Markell said no to South Florida. Why did he say no? Well, he works as a law professor at Florida State University. Tallahassee is hundreds of miles away from South Florida. It's the same state, but it's 2 different worlds, right? South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, you know, big money, big airports, fancy cars, all of that down in South Florida. And if you're sharing custody, you can't just like drop someone off if you have them down in South Florida in Tallahassee. It'll take hours and hours and hours to drive, or it's a plane flight. So you're talking about 2 completely different places, and Dan did not want his children down there because he wanted to be he wanted to be a father, and he wanted to be there with them. So let's talk about Wendy and what was driving part of this battle that she was having with Dan regarding custody of the children. And a lot of people point to her controlling mother. She had a controlling mother. And to give you an example, like, how did Wendy get together with Dan? I've heard the story that Wendy and Donna, her mother, were going through J-Date, looking for people that Wendy could potentially date. And Dan was one that Mom loved. Oh, look at him. He's handsome. He's smart. He would be great. You should date him. She did. And she married him and had kids. But then everything fell apart. So Wendy's family, led by her mother, who was the matriarch, was down in South Florida, and she wanted her daughter back down there, and she wanted her grandchildren close by. So Donna really became part of this battle. You know, it wasn't just Dan versus Wendy, it was Dan versus the Adelsons and Dan versus Donna and Wendy. And the question is, for Donna Adelson, did this become personal? Right? Was this like a personal battle for her now? Like, oh, he's not going to beat us. He's not going to beat me. No, we are going to win this one way or another. Dang. And that's the theory of the prosecution. When they couldn't win in court, they went elsewhere. When they couldn't pay him off or buy him off, they went elsewhere to a hitman. That's what prosecutors are saying here. So who was the hitman? There were 2 of them. One of them was a pretty high-ranking member of the Latin Kings. Oh, no. Notorious street gang. And at the trial, the defense, Donna Adelson, wants to be able to tell the jury that he was a member of the Latin Kings. Take a look at what happened in court today.
Wow.
I know in the previous year and last year, Your Honor questioned whether there was a difference between a Latin King gang member and simply a gang member. The answer is absolutely. In Miami, in South Florida, there is absolutely a difference between a gang member and a Latin King gang member.
Even with that being said, this ultimately goes to your client's state of mind and who is going to establish how she knows the difference between, forgive the pun, the garden variety gang member and a specific gang member.
I think between her testimony and anticipated testimony of Charlie Adelson.
So with that being said, looks like Granny was in for the murder for hire. Is it respectful? I mean, she was a grandma, right? I don't want to be too disrespectful. She was in on the murder for hire. And then she helped plan it. She didn't want the kids to be away from her, to have issues. And apparently her daughter, Wendy, had something to do with it. Wild stuff.
Okay, so now we're talking about the Latin Kings. They want to be able to say this guy was a member of the Latin Kings. And one of the reasons this is important, because at some point there was an undercover agent who engages in what they call the bump with Donna Adelson and hands her some paperwork and a phone number. And he's claiming to be associated with one of the hitmen. So it's important for the defense, I guess, to explain Donna's reaction or whatever she did or didn't do, that she believed she got bumped into by a member of the Latin Kings. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the bump, it's on video. It's not just testimony about what happened. They had a wire on the undercover claiming to be an associate of one of the hitmen, and they've got a video camera hidden capturing all of it. Let's take a look.
This is crazy.
Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen, don't be scared. Listen, I just want to let you know that you know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Hugo for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. We want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuco. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us, former federal prosecutor, president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers, Nima Romani is.
Okay, we're not going to get into that. Shout out to Nemo, though. This trial is going to be crazy. So it starts next Friday. They said the 19th in the previous video, but everything that I'm seeing is going to start on the 22nd. The reason they're saying Friday the 22nd is because jury selection is going to start earlier next week, and then it's going to take a few days for that to happen. So we're going to be here covering that. I want y'all to let me know what you think about this in the comments and in the chat at face value. I haven't done too much research or details into it, as we're going to view the case as someone on the jury would. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of this evidence too. And for those of you asking how long she's been in jail, she's been locked up since, I think, 2003. Donna Adelson was arrested in November 2023 at the Miami International Airport, my favorite airport in the U.S., by the way, while attempting to board a flight to Vietnam. Oh, she was trying to flee. Was she trying to flee the country? Wow. Yep, and she's been in there for a year and 8 months. Man, shout out to Granny. Let's see. Oh, Walton. Oh, y'all are talking about the airport. Man, I flew into Fort Lauderdale Airport before. Man, that thing is tiny. What airport is that? Let me see if I can find it. What airport? Y'all remember? I'm used to flying into Miami International. And I flew into Fort Lauderdale. I was like, what is this? I would never do that again. Yeah, that's what it is. Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International. That thing was tiny. Yeah, she bought a one-way ticket, but she said she was going on vacation. What? Thank you for that. This trial is going to be insane. I can't wait to see this. Oh, man. He said, 2003 at first. It was a mistake. Yeah, 2023. So she's been in there for a year and 8 months. Thank you again. And big shout out to all 1,200 of you that have liked the video. Oh, my goodness. Y'all are showing major love. All right, we got a couple more topics to get into. So I'm not gonna hold y'all hostage too much. Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, yeah. We got to talk about Shannon Sharpe again. I know y'all thought we were done with Shannon Sharpe, but we are not. We got Shannon Sharpe, we got Joy Taylor, we got some very interesting news with this one as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Shannon Sharpe, man, this past 12 months for Shannon Sharpe has been insane because we talked about the lawsuit that he settled, the $50 million lawsuit he settled with Gabby, retired her. Congratulations to Gabby for that, I guess. I don't know. Then recently, a lawsuit against him was dismissed, a defamation lawsuit by Miss Tillman. Miss J. Tillman was dismissed, and she seemed satisfied with it. Shannon seemed satisfied with it and said he didn't pay her a dime. Allegedly, I don't know how that worked out. Now, we had this other lawsuit that Shannon Sharpe was mentioned in, along with Joy Taylor and Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was a bigger factor in this lawsuit than Shannon Sharpe was, but Shannon Sharpe was mentioned, and Joy Taylor was another person mentioned in this lawsuit against FS1 and several people who worked there. If you remember, we discussed this. Miss Faraji, she worked with Joy Taylor. She actually was working in LA. She met Joy Taylor. They became friends. Joy Taylor started to work her way up through the ranks. And then Miss Faraji, being a hairdresser, she started working for Joy Taylor at FS1. And then she got to work with other people like Colin Cowherd, and then eventually Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe, helping doing makeup and lots of other things. Apparently, Miss Faraji ended up having some type of weird workplace relationship with Skip Bayless that may have went too far. It was alleged that Skip was trying to pay her lots and lots of money to be his somewhat girlfriend or whatever. We don't know. And then during this lawsuit, it was also alleged that Joy Taylor was basically telling Miss Faraji, hey, do what you got to do. I'm going to be over here sleeping my way to the top and using whatever power I have. And that later, if something goes down, I can just say, hey, guys, I was a victim. Yeah. It's alleged that Joy Taylor said that. So now it's looking like this lawsuit that Miss Faraji filed was dismissed. So we're going to check it out and see what the story is here. And we're actually going to hear from Joy Taylor now that Joy Taylor, as we know, has been let go. Some people want to say fired, but her contract wasn't renewed, which to me is being fired. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. FS1 accuser files request for dismissal in workplace misconduct case against Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless, and FS1. Fox was mentioned in this too. The request was shot down by a judge last week, seemingly due to legal technicality, meaning the case is still technically ongoing, but it looks like either she settled or she's happy with the resolution that they came to. So what happened? The bombshell lawsuit alleging several instances of workplace misconduct at Fox Sports may soon come to an end. Miss Faraji and Faraji, the FS1 hairstylist that accused former Undisputed host Skip Bayless of numerous instances of, we'll say, harassment, and former Speak host Joy Taylor of harassment on ethnic grounds, filed a request to dismiss the lawsuit in LA Superior Court earlier this month. That request was shot down by a judge last week, seemingly due to a legal technicality, meaning the case is still technically ongoing. However, the fact that Faraji has filed a request for dismissal to begin with would seem to indicate a settlement is imminent and probably most likely has happened. All right. The filing comes 1 month after former FS1 talent Julie Stewart-Binks settled a similar lawsuit filed after Faraji's that alleged former Fox Sports executive Charlie Dixon, who is also a defendant in the Faraji case, groped and forcibly kissed her during a meeting in a hotel room. How are you meeting with another guy in a hotel room? Anyway, Dixon was let go by the network in April. We knew this was going to happen. We called it, we predicted it, and it happened months after both lawsuits were filed. His lawyer pointed to a freelance agreement by the networking involving his wife as the reason for his departure and continued to deny the inappropriate conduct.
Stop the cap.
Charlie, we know why they let you go. Come on, man. Front Office Sports first reported that Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless, and Charlie Dixon were in settlement talks with Faraji back in April. Should a settlement be reached soon, it'll be the final chapter in a months-long saga that has cast a pox on the workplace culture of Fox Sports. And I mean, if you look at Fox Sports now, there is nobody there. It's literally just Colin Cowherd's show, and that's it. They've got Colin Cowherd, they've got Nick Wright, they've got Wiles, and they've got Chris Bouchard. And that's pretty much it at Fox right now. They got rid of almost everybody else, and specifically everyone who was mentioned in this lawsuit, except Colin, because Faraji said, oh, Colin was very nice to me. She took time to point out that Colin Cowherd was a nice guy, and she never had any issues with him. But FS1 recently overhauled its weekday programming lineup, canceling Joy Taylor's show, among several other moves. With Joy Taylor's departure, none of the individuals implicated in Faraji's lawsuit remain at the network. So she got them all fired. Well, as a result of that, Joy Taylor is now speaking out, and let's see what she had to say about being let go. Okay, she was on a podcast with Billy Bush, excuse me, on his podcast titled Hot Mics. I'll leave the link to the full video in the description. Let's see what Joy has to say.
And the mics are hot with Joy Taylor. There she is. Joy, we've been waiting for you. Thanks for waiting for us.
No, we haven't.
We'll tell the world we had some technical difficulties, and you've been nothing but accommodating and sweet, and we appreciate it.
We have not been
It's no
for
problem.
Joy.
It's how it goes. You know, we're all relying on these internets to work, and they do and they don't. But we made it happen. I'm happy to be here.
It's good to see you. Everybody's talking about you, Joy. How does it? I know what that's like. I've had my moment in the barrel.
A familiar feeling.
Yikes.
Well, how does it feel? I think if it was on my own terms, you know, it always feels better to be talked about for something that you want to be talked about for. I guess when you're in this business and you're front facing, you know, what's the saying, like, no press is bad press. I don't know if I really agree with that. But it's been an interesting 6 months. I'll say that.
I'll say this, you know, I study a bit of Stoic philosophy. It's one of the things I picked up when the world I felt like it turned its back on me, and I felt like I was down. And by the way, nobody goes unscathed, especially in our business, Joy. I think everybody you're up, and everybody's gonna be down, and maybe all the way down, and you hope it's just a little down or whatever it is, but everybody's gonna go through something. Nobody goes unscathed, and it isn't. What I marvel
But
at,
was she wrong?
as somebody a little older than you, is, you know, it's not what happens, because terrible things happen. It's how you react to it. And from my vantage point, I think you've reacted beautifully. I'm watching you handle yourself with poise. I watched you with my old friend Rachel Lindsay.
She hasn't
on
done anything.
her podcast,
She
Van,
fine.
and I thought, wow, yeah, you're taking it. You said some things that really got my attention. And you said, I'm a gangster. I'm vengeful. I'm vengeful. I'm taking notes. I don't forget. I really like that.
Joy needs to sit down, man. Her time's over.
You know, Billy, like you said, like everybody has their day in the sun, so to speak, right? And you wonder how you'll react when it's your turn. And then sometimes you watch other people go through different things, and, you know, we're human beings, so we judge, we can't help it. But I think
Joy.
also it's smart to just evaluate how things are handled. And to me, you know, for a variety of reasons, it just doesn't make sense to make things worse by crashing out. You know, I mean, it's very tempting, obviously, and I fully understand why people do it, but I've never been an emotionally reactive person. Whenever anything happens to me in my life, private or publicly, I like to let it happen and then assess the situation and then decide how I'm going to react to it, because you can make permanent decisions off of temporary emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it may seem fair to you in the moment to lash out or to say something, you know, to make yourself feel better, you can absolutely make it worse. And silence is a way to handle things as well. And some people may perceive it as you have nothing to say to defend yourself, but you're never going to convince everybody of anything. And for me, I mean, do not mistake. It's been a journey, and you know, I've been held back by people in my life for sure at moments. You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like I've just been a pillar of poise throughout the entire past 6 months. But thank you, and yeah. I think that in the end, I will have my say, and I'll have made the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, Joy, that's nice, but let's be clear. I wish Joy all the best, and I hope she finds her way in whatever she decides to do. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Nobody wants to hear from Joy Taylor. Unless she just takes a completely different route in the space that she was in, we don't care, Joy. We don't care about your opinion. There's a reason she was let go. There's a reason she wasn't on the other shows. There's a reason she got a chance on Undisputed to begin with. And we've heard from multiple sources what that reason was. I'm going to let that be. I think there's only one path forward for Joy, and I'm not going to mention it on this show because I've already mentioned it too much. Her podcast, not doing great. People don't watch it. She's revamping, trying to do different things. I don't know. It might be time to find another route. But again, who am I to judge? I mean, look, I'm just whatever. I'm doing my thing over here. Y'all let me know what you think about Joy Taylor in this. Looks like Shannon Sharpe dodged another bullet from being involved in another lawsuit. I'll be interested to know and see from y'all what you think about this lawsuit being dismissed. Who paid the most? Was it Fox? Was it Joy? Was it Shannon? No, Shannon didn't pay anything. Was it Skip? And how's Joy going to recover for this? Because this is the face of definitely someone who's confident about their future. Let me know what y'all think. Hey, listen, Lee, chill. I didn't say it. You said it. Lee Rhodes said it. Amy said, Doug Weinstein, you need another client. Just saw Matt McCabe is looking for a divorce attorney. Oh my. Is Doug doing family law? He might have to switch over there. He said, Doug Weinstein, you need another client. Hey, Lee, you said it. I did not say it. All right. Yeah, nobody. I mean, shout out to Joy, but dang, Joy, you got it. We all right. Can't say I'm surprised. Y'all said, is Matt really? Somebody's about to crash out. Y'all want to talk about crash outs? If they get divorced, man, I think some things are going to be said. That would be wild. Amy, where did you see that? Where did you see that, Amy? Amy said, why y'all want to see Joy on OF? I'm good on that. I am so good on that. But if she's going to do it, she better do it now and strike while the iron's hot. This is not your last resort. It's the only option. So go ahead, do what you got to do. Go get that money and move on. In the Karen Reed update group, that's crazy. That is wild. All right, let's get into another trial here. And y'all may not have heard about this one because it's kind of an old situation, but this is another trial that's starting next week. If y'all haven't heard about the AJ Scott incident, this thing is crazy. You want to talk about a crazy trial? We're talking about a former Georgia State trooper. This man was going 30 miles over the speed limit. He T-bones a car with 4 teenagers in the car, right? And this happened right here in Georgia. He T-bones a car going 90 miles an hour, over 30 miles over the speed limit. 2 of the teenagers die in the car. Very tragic. The other 2, they're left in critical condition. So there's some issues. There's a lot of back and forth about what happened. Of course, he's a state trooper. This is going to be handled a certain way. Then we're trying to get set up, trying to move forward for trial. During that time, this man, not only is he let go from the state trooper as a Georgia State trooper, but this man, AJ Scott, becomes the mayor. He becomes the mayor in one of the cities we're going to talk about moving forward. This case is sad. It's crazy. And the trial starting this coming week. I think we might cover some of it just because this story is so wild and interesting. But I want to hear what y'all think about this. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a background of what happened. We actually got the dash cam footage here, thanks to Amy, from the actual accident. Obviously not going to show the whole thing, but this story is sad. It gets wild. Check it out.
Investigators say former trooper A.J. Scott was going more than 90 miles per hour seconds before the crash. He was not responding to an emergency and his lights and siren were not on. Watch how fast he comes over a rise and he can't seem to avoid hitting a car that turned left in front of him.
Jeez.
Within seconds, Trooper Scott radios for help.
I just 1050. Send fire and EMS.
Kyle Lindsay and Isabel Chinchilla both died in the crash. Two
So
others
sad.
were seriously injured, including Dylan Wall, the driver of the car.
It's ridiculous.
Lena Wall is Dylan's aunt.
That Dylan would have had time to make that turn had that cop not been going 90 miles an hour down a dark, wet road.
Yesterday, a Carroll County grand jury declined to indict A.J. Scott. The victim's family say they're devastated.
They sat there and said,
Yeah, no kidding.
we're not going to prosecute police who are supposed to uphold the law, but you do it, wait. Just wait and see what happens.
And this is nearly almost 10 years ago, guys, that this happened. It's so sad. And we've got even more about this from
After nearly a decade
11
of
Alive.
delays, the case against a former Georgia State trooper, that's A.J. Scott, is finally moving forward. The jury trial now set for April 28th in Carroll County,
And
with
he's the current
DeKalb
mayor.
County prosecutors handling this case, where a grand jury indicted Scott in 2017 after he crashed into a car carrying 4 teenagers. This crash killed Kylie Lindsay and Isabella Chinchilla. It seriously injured 2 others. Prosecutors say he was going 90 in a 45 speed zone without his lights or sirens.
Jeez.
He was fired from Georgia State Patrol days later.
And now he's the current mayor.
Team now, the city of Buchanan in Haralson County hired an outside investigator to look into some disturbing behavior by the town's mayor.
Yes, now fast forward a few years later. Well, I say a few, it was about 6 years later. A.J. Scott becomes the mayor of Buchanan. And now his conduct isn't stopping. He has some issues while he's in office, and he's being accused of doing certain things that are against his office as he's the mayor. Check this out.
This comes as Mayor A.J. Scott waits to see whether he'll be retried for what happened in his previous job, a vehicular homicide arrest due to his actions as a Georgia State trooper.
Well, Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis investigated both and joins us now with more. Randy?
Russ and Courtney, it's been 7 years since then Trooper Scott was blamed in the deaths of 2 teenagers. Shortly after the mistrial, he ran for mayor of Buchanan. That decision has always bothered the victims' families. They say what's happened since has made it worse.
It's wild that people voted for him too.
Call to order. As the mayor, A.J. Scott only gets to vote if there's a tie on the Buchanan City Council. But his other recent actions have generated the sort of attention this town of 1,300 would rather not see.
Can you at least talk to us about that or tell the people of Buchanan about that?
More on all that in a minute. Back in 2015, it was State Trooper A.J. Scott behind the wheel late one night, barreling through Carroll County. Even though he was not responding to a call, Scott was going 90 in a 45-mile-per-hour zone, only to come to a sudden, tragic stop. The crash would kill 2 teenage girls, Kylie Lindsay and her best friend, Bella Chinchilla. 2 boys in the front seat were critically injured, but survived.
Is the trooper okay? He seems fine.
Scott blamed the kids for crossing into his path.
What happened, man?
They pulled right up, making this left turn right there.
And you didn't see him?
I saw him. I went right when I should have went down left because they were making that left.
The state patrol fired Scott, and years later, he was eventually tried for vehicular homicide. But as the jury deliberated, the judge ordered a mistrial, accusing the DA of not disclosing all the evidence to the defense. Both the DA and the judge later recused themselves from the case.
Yes, and if you guys want to know what the evidence was, there was evidence that someone who was in the car and allegedly one of the girls either had leaned forward or did something that was supposed to be pertinent information to the defense. So there was a mistrial because of that. Not that it would have made a big difference that we know, but they didn't disclose that information, so mistrial.
Georgia Supreme Court has yet to rule whether a special prosecutor will be allowed to retry Scott.
We're just looking for justice for our girls, and we're going to go in it for the long haul.
Leslie Woods and Kelly Lindsay are the mothers of the 2 victims.
It's really tough to grieve my daughter with everything that continues to happen.
Like what's described in these Buchanan police incident reports from September of this year.
The mayor called the only Buchanan police officer on duty one night and told him to come here to Bremen and pick him up because he'd had too much to drink. When the officer arrived and put the mayor into the car, he went inside and found the city's financial documents spread out on top of the bar.
Even worse, the report says a bar employee said that Mayor Scott was intoxicated and they were trying to close the bar, but Scott kept trying to buy alcohol.
She said Scott was being rude and got up on the bar and started unzipping his pants.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh, it's believable.
No, it's believable.
Other bar employees told officers the mayor did not actually expose himself. He was not arrested. The police chief wrote in his report that Scott called him the next day to get a ride back to Bremen to pick up his car. He had a strong odor of alcohol coming from his person, the chief noted. 12 days earlier, another police report details a call received from Mayor Scott here in this park behind City Hall. He was slurring his words. He stated that there was a motorcycle and people everywhere in the park. The officer wrote, he could locate no one. I could smell a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from him, and he was speaking very slurred. This mayor had his pocket knife out, and the blade was open. I was definitely much more cautious since he had his knife out and was seeing people that could not be explained.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
A written statement from the Buchanan City Council said an internal affairs investigator from another city's police agency has been hired to investigate the mayor's actions as well as the actions of the Buchanan PD in handling matters relating to the mayor.
Can you talk to us a little bit about these incidents involving you and the police?
That's currently being looked into, but I have no comment.
Do you have a drinking problem, sir?
No, sir.
I don't understand how he can go around and do things and hold a mayor position. He's a time bomb. He is not fit to be a mayor.
Is this a good look for the mayor, though, to have the police being called to pick him up at a bar?
I would suggest you just wait for the report.
But you can tell me what happened. You don't have to wait for the report.
Dang.
Well, City Attorney Carrie Pilgrim promises that outside investigation report will be made public as soon as it is complete, hopefully in the next week or so.
Yep, and we have that review here. Check this out.
Team now, an outside investigation confirms a Georgia mayor abused his authority by repeatedly demanding that police officers give him rides because...
So the report was done, and here's what it found.
Used his authority by repeatedly demanding that police officers give him rides because he was too drunk to drive.
A.J. Scott is the mayor of Buchanan. He's also a former state trooper who still faces vehicular homicide charges because he crashed his patrol unit into a car full of teenagers years ago, killing two.
Our Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis is here with this latest twist. Randy?
Russ and Courtney, the criminal case ended in a mistrial and can't be retried till the Georgia Supreme Court gives the okay. The victim's family see this latest investigation in the same light as the criminal case. In both, Scott so far has faced no serious consequences for his actions.
And he's still the mayor, by the way.
The 31-page outside review into Buchanan Mayor A.J. Scott is filled with disturbing allegations, many of which the investigator managed to confirm. Scott repeatedly called Buchanan police to give him a ride home when he had too much to drink, including an officer driving outside the city to this Bremen restaurant. Scott himself admitted he had 8 or 9 old fashions during his estimated 6 hours there, with 2 witnesses saying the mayor got on the bar and unzipped his pants or pretended to as the police officer tried to get him to leave. Scott denied that, but admitted he did drink too much, and he was loud, obnoxious, and acted like a fool. According to the report, last March, Scott showed up intoxicated at City Hall to offer his services for a police field sobriety testing class, even though no one in the police department asked him to volunteer. The instructor saw cans and bottles of alcoholic beverages on the mayor's desk. And when the investigator asked to review the mayor's phone to see whether he tried to cover up any of his actions, Scott refused to let him look.
Do you have a drinking problem, sir?
No, sir.
That was last year when Scott did not want to talk about the drinking allegations. In a brief conversation off camera this week, the mayor maintained his drinking is not a serious problem because he only drinks a few times a month.
Scott is in his first term as mayor of this town of roughly 1,000 people. But that report, as ugly as it is, will apparently have no effect on his tenure. City council members read it over and decided there was nothing in there to justify removing him from office.
He's not fit to be a mayor. And without these reports...
So did y'all hear that? Not only did this man get voted in as a mayor after he was going to be on trial for killing 2 teenagers and seriously injuring 2 others. He got voted in. The city council said, we looked at the report and he really didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he's the mayor. Like, yeah, stuff happens. He unzipped his pants. He was drunk. He called a police officer. We'll just keep him in there. He's doing great things for the people.
We would have no idea.
They don't live in Buchanan, but they follow the mayor's every wrong move. That's what happens when you blame him for the death of your teenage daughter.
Other than losing his job with Georgia State Patrol when he killed the girls, he has a great life to live.
What happened, man?
They pulled right up, making this left turn right there.
That's Trooper AJ Scott. Minutes after he T-boned a car full of teenagers as they tried to turn left in front of him one dark night in Carroll County. The driver said he never saw Scott, who was speeding through the 45-mile-per-hour zone with no sirens or blue lights because he was not responding to a call.
And going
Scott
over
was
90
not drinking.
miles an hour.
The 2015 crash killed the two girls in the backseat, Kylie Lindsay and Bella Chinchilla, and seriously injured two more.
I just think that AJ is not thinking about anybody but himself. He thinks he's above the law.
Scott's first prosecution ended in a mistrial. Everyone is waiting to see whether the Georgia Supreme Court allows the 8-year-old case to finally be retried. Too much time to dwell on such a tragedy and be forced to watch other disturbing decisions also go unpunished.
I'm just afraid that it's going to take him killing someone else before he stopped.
Ironically, the police chief and assistant chief both lost their jobs following the report. Each claim it's retribution because the mayor was mad that they documented his drinking through official police reports.
Did y'all see that? Then he fought. I gotta rewind that again.
I'm just afraid that it's going to take him killing someone else before he stopped.
Ironically, the police chief and assistant chief both lost their jobs following the report. Each claim it's retribution because the mayor was mad that they documented his drinking through official police reports. Scott denies that to the outside investigator and said each violated department policies. But both the chief and the assistant chief are now considering their own legal action. So quite a lot going on in Buchanan these days.
Yeah, that is wild. What do y'all think about this case? It's unfortunate the Adelson one starting next week as well. We might have to cover a little bit of this case, just for the sake of seeing what's going on, because it starts on Monday and I want to see this evidence, because seeing as he got somewhat lucky with the mistrial the first time, I can imagine this dude's he's probably going to be in jail for a long time, unless the prosecution just doesn't have the evidence that they need. This is going to be wild to see. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Do you want me to cover this? Should we cover this? Should we cover Donna Adelson? Should we cover the Julio Fulio trial? I want to know what y'all think. Wow. Wow. Shout out to the gang in here, man. My guy Will is in the building. Shout out to Big Will in the building. I'm skipping Adelson. I'm not interested. I'm not that interested, but I think I'm the only one. If people are going to be talking about it, we kind of cover it here. It's one of them things. Also, shout out to Les Cleaver in here, major sponsor of today's show. He says, I'm just grateful to be able to have the day off to spend with you all. The best YouTube channel ever. ClassE and Amy, amen. Thank you so much for the love, Les. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. We got our topics in there. We are going to be back, y'all know, on Monday for this show, but we also will be live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to check out some of the music from the independent artists here in the community, make sure you tap into Song of the Night live tonight. If you haven't yet, like the video on your way out, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live. Big shout out and thank you to everyone that went the extra mile and sent in super chat. Shout out to Les Cleaver, sponsor of today's show. Mr. Brown, J Money, Mary was up in here as well. Just saying with Alicia, CPE, my guy, and my awesome, amazing Amy. I appreciate every single one of y'all consistently showing up. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Y'all are amazing, man. Thank you.